I'm going to tell you a story about two men who met in a field in Norfolk, and there was a car there that was under a cover. This car, in fact, that you see before you here, that was parked for 33 years, some of that on the grass outside, some of it in a barn, which has meant that on the surface, this car was in excellent condition, physically looking, but after trying and precision engineering my ass, snapping the cam belt and finding a cam belt in the middle of Norfolk and refitting the cam belt without any special tools in the middle of a field. After doing all of that good stuff, we still could not get the car to run and idle properly off its own juices and its own fuel pump and all of that good stuff. So my plans of jumping in the car, fixing the brakes and driving it for 250 miles back to the Tasty Classics workshop where we are here today were shattered. The dreams were shattered. So after that abject failure, I went down, I put this car on a trailer and I brought it back here. And by the end of this video, I am determined to get this thing running and moving under its own steam. That is what I wanted to set out to do in the first one, and that's what we're going to do in this one. These still don't work. Working with Nino from Not Economically Viable was one of the most fun things I've done in a long time, and I think you guys found it very enjoyable too. You said you did in the comments, and you all thought it was good fun. I thought it was great fun. There were some amazing laughs. See those things that fell out? But what came out of it was the start of a great collaboration friendship with me and Nino, and a car that I truly believe does want to come back to life. It's just this bit here, which is a bit sad. As you can see, it's all a bit, it's not great, bit gummy. Pulled it apart, things fell out, put them back in a field, grass in it probably, mud, doesn't work. So this bit I'm wanting to try and replace right now. And here's what I bought earlier. Now I bought this off of eBay. It looks very, very nice. And they told me that it was working perfectly when they took it out the car. So what I'm going to do now is I'm essentially going to pull this one completely out of the car again, and we'll compare it next to that one on the bench. So the good news is they look pretty much like the same units. That's the manky one that came off the car, but as you can see, it goes like so much further in and out. Not go any further than that, but that's not very far to sort of leave air to go up past, is it really? I just don't know. It's free, but kind of not. It's a bit of a strange one, that. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is just put it on, because it was quite easy to take off. It's only a few bolts and it goes on. This gasket looks all right. I've not got another gasket for it. The one that came off it was rubber. I mean, whatever it was, it's snapped now, but that's what came. Oh no, it's still, yes, the same one, cork one, but just, yeah, a bit more miles up it, maybe, baby. So yeah, that one's going in the bin, and we'll use this one here to put this back on. I'm going to take my time though, cleaning everything up. I snapped one of the studs going in there, so I'm going to try my best to sort of, I don't know, try and unsnap that, clean everything up, get it planted back onto that airbox. This new one is now bolted down, and yeah, it's looking a hell of a lot cleaner and better, isn't it? God, I hope it works, because there's a lot of other stuff this car needs. Anyway, that was almost 300 quid for that unit there. People know what they've got, don't they? And they know how often they break. I could have probably rebuilt the other one. Of course I could have, but I don't want to do that, and it would have taken me ages, and it probably wouldn't have worked, and it would have been very frustrating, and I did enough of that in a field while being eaten by horseflies. So what I'm going to do now is put those fuel pipes on. Ta-da! They're incredibly sort of pipe-like, aren't they? Everything looks great. That is moving, but again, only a very, very small amount. I don't know. Is this normal? It doesn't go up either. What's going on? How can I understand you? Right, okay. I'm not going to put that thing on yet. I don't know why, I'm just not going to. Let's put some fuel in it and twist the key. Let's make sure that's doing its thing, and yet you can see it's pumping straight back into the tank, which is what we want. Now, I don't know if you noticed, this interior looks a little bit different than it used to. We'll get onto that in a bit, okay? But first, this thing just ran. Why did it stop? What the hell? Are you just going to run like that? Why did you stop though? Come back to life. Maybe it's because of the air leak. I've got to put that thing back on. Yeah, nothing's happening when I press the throttle, but it's starting on its own juices. Oh. Oh my God, that is starting. Do I have to put that thing back on? Is there anything leaking? Nothing's leaking, we're all nice. God, that fuel pump's noisy. Bloody hell, she ran like a dream then, man. I think Audi had designed that specifically so it didn't fit, which is a weird thing for them to do, isn't it? Well, I actually got the other one of those off the guy that sent me this one, and there's like a bit different, but I put this old one on. Doesn't matter, I'm over it. It took longer than it should have done just to fit a plastic thing. Not all two parts are the same. Thankfully we should be all right with that though. All the vac lines seem to be good. Let's try and fire it up again. Come on, baby, come on. We need you here. Come on. Come on, what's wrong? Why won't you rev up? It's unsteady on its feet, isn't it? There's like the tiniest little fuel leak from down there. That's not enough to sort of worry me at all or cause any sort of pressure loss. There's no other fuel leaks. And that is firing fuel back in. It's definitely sucking stuff up, but the fuel is crap. It's very varnished. I have put a full tank in it, another tank. Is it just that the fuel's crap? Surely not. The hazard's on again. Oh no. Really does not want to idle nicely, does it? Come on, come back to life. What's wrong? Is it this thing? Do you need your... What do you need? I'm just sort of manually pulling that thing down. I mean, it's idling though, isn't it? It is certainly idling. It's doing better than it was in that field. You know, I haven't changed the fuel filter or anything. The fuel system's going to be full of crap if we just got a blocked fuel filter. Judging by the speed the fuel is coming out the return, I don't think there's enough fuel pressure. See, it's sweet as a nut for a second, and then the fuel pressure drops, I think, and it starts running a bit rough. So let it build up a bit of fuel pressure now, maybe. That's what it's doing. Smooth as silk. Fuel pressure drops. Here's the plan. That there is where the fuel comes in, and it goes to the fuel filter there, and then goes into the machine, comes out, and magic happens, goes back to the tank. What I'm planning on doing, because the tank's just in a million pieces, isn't it? And it's really difficult to sort of get everything in, and I'm tempted to drop the tank, which I know we don't like doing, but I'm tempted to drop the tank and build it all back together and then push it up through the car, because it's impossible working in this that gap there. I need to be able to see properly to make sure all this goes back in the right way, you know. And I could potentially clean the tank out at the same time, put new pipes on and stuff. How good was that though, to hear it idle, even if it was idling like a bag of spanners. Which is good. For once in my life, I bought a car that doesn't need any welding. No, I've done a couple of good ones recently, but look at all this. Look at how solid the thing is. All the sills and everything are absolutely gorgeous. Everything, even the rear beams, all totally solid. Now, we did touch on in the video, the first video of this. Oh, look at that spider there. That this car, one of the first Audis that sort of came fully galvanised, and you can see the difference that has made. I wish they would make more cars like this nowadays, because it would just be better, wouldn't it? Anyway, I put it up in the air because I want to have a look mainly at the fuel system. This is where it gets a little bit sad. Okay, here, sad little pipes. I got my new fuel filter, that's arrived, so that could go on as well, so that's one thing less to worry about. But also I've got this. This is steel braided fuel pipe. These pipes, somewhere where it's really sort of clean and nice over here. Tidy all these bits up, sort of make them all good, and then join that, and just, or, you know, if it doesn't need, if they're okay everywhere else, and yeah, it's just a little bit of surface rust, maybe give them a clean, bit of a treatment or something, and maybe like cut them here, just where there's still support, and join it with that stuff all the way over to this bit here. Look at the filler neck and stuff, it's all like aluminium and things, so it's in really, really good nick. I just don't like the way it all goes through there, because obviously that's connected to the tank, and how am I supposed to get that out of that hole and drop the tank at the same time? It looks like it's going to be very, very difficult. Again, I mean, everything else, like the replaceable bits, are all quite badly rusty, but the car is like brand new. It's incredible. It's so nice. How am I supposed to get that out of there? Does it just pull out or something? Weirdest thing ever. I don't know. Just screams nightmare. So these brake pipes have been replaced fairly recently. This back one that goes across, but these flexies are dead. I mean, that looks like it's going to be completely round, but yeah, if I can get those pipes out there, at least I don't have to make those. And that flexi goes somewhere. Where does it go? There you go. It loops back round, goes into the caliper there. And again, the caliper's looking quite nicked, but it's all about what the seals and stuff look like on the inside. These discs and pads, again, they've been replaced recently, I'm sure of it. Because there's no lip, there's nothing on those at all. Bleed nipples ready to go there and stuff. Yeah, I mean, might get away with them. On the front here, not so good. Discs, massive old lip on the discs, and there's a lot of, you know, backing plate falling apart and such. This brake pipe here as well, let me get the torch. I mean, yeah, that's a bit of a crustacean, isn't it? Could definitely want replacing that. Flexi, again, it's not as bad as the back, but it's definitely going to want replacing. And that brake pipe that goes there to the caliper is, I mean, underneath all that, that's just grease actually, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That potentially could be worse. All that brown stuff is just mud and crap, really. It's actually pretty solid, that brake pipe. Okay, makes me feel a little bit better. But yeah, calipers again just look a bit crusty, don't they? Can't really sort of see the seals and stuff inside them, but might be okay. That brake pipe there goes into this little box, which goes into the power steering reservoir, which is obviously what we did last time, and that makes absolutely no sense to me. I'm going to have to Google that, find out what that's actually for. But I mean, it's in good nick, that one, so it doesn't need to be replaced anyway. And then yeah, go across to this master cylinder, and the master cylinder itself looks Genghis, and a lot of the pipes and stuff don't look great either, but it might just be surface stuff. It might clean up okay, it might not, might need a replacement. And yeah, that pipe coming out of there again, super crusty, going down to that front wheel. Few pipes what need to be made. Saying that though, look at that, I filled that with fluid, didn't we, and it's not leaked any. Interesting. Let's reach for the low-hanging fruits. Why is that like a 1/10 of the size of that? Is everything different? Why not just do it? Is that going to work the same? It's just a, but it's not going to fit inside the, why is it so big? Nothing's easy, is it? Nothing's straightforward. That's fine. Let's just take it off. It's the right kind of fitting. How do you change these without getting petrol everywhere? I don't think you can you? The Beetle is also having the first bit of work done on it for Beetle 2, which is due in about 12 months' time. Once I've got the paperwork back. I've been waiting for the paperwork for that for ages, but we've got a little bit of availability for Anna to come and do some stitching on the seats, and you'll see all of that in Beetle 2 when it comes out. Just to, can I wrap something round it maybe for this to fit in? I mean, it's just far too big, isn't it? In every way, shape and form. It's not going to hold it steady at all, is it? Have I got anything I can put on that? So this is the solution I've come up with to stop this being like a dick in a shirt sleeve, and that is going to be to wrap this bit of flammable material around it and sort of bulk it up a bit, you know, make it a bit bigger, and then we'll clamp it all down, and hopefully that's going to sort of act as a big bushing and hold it in place. Are we getting there? Yeah, you get the idea. Okay. You've got to improvise, adapt and overcome on these old cars when the parts that you need aren't actually available. Because obviously this fuel filter has been superseded by this little one or something. I don't know. It's better to not question it sometimes, isn't it? And to just get on with it. Because we've got bigger fish to fry than mounting this fuel filter, that's for sure. So I think the running issues we're having is down to fuel pressure, and that is one thing off the list, because the other fuel filter is obviously very old and the stuff that was coming out of it was a horrible colour. So maybe the flow is going to be a little bit better through there, but we do need to sort the pipes underneath that are leaking and the tank side of things out, which I'm not looking forward to. So I'm going to have a little bit of a play with that and decide how I'm going to tackle it. I've pulled these pipes down, these two offending articles here, and this is where they're fine, so I'm probably going to join them there, but you can see this one's sort of blown somewhere around here and this one somewhere around there. Now this one's nice and easy because I can just slot that into this, put a new clamp around it, and Robert's your mother's brother. This one here though, I'm hoping this bit of pipe's going to be good enough. It looks pretty decent, so I can join a section of hose and just sort of make this bit good. Now while I've been doing that, I've also been looking at the fuel tank removal, and it might be okay. I found this little hole here where I can see the fuel filler neck, which is probably the biggest sticking point, and if I undo that clip there, there's a chance I can just pull it out from there, but I don't know. So we'll cross that bridge as and when we come to it. Before I connect all the pipes up, I'm just having a little bit of a drain, and that is what's coming out of the tank, and it is absolutely horrendous. It's like a bloody Mary. trying to drain as much out as I can so I can drop the tank without it going everywhere, really. Not now, maybe later. That is dark, isn't it? That is super, super dark. Crazy. That was in your fuel tank. We're trying to run the Audi off that. Wowzers. Anyway, these fuel pipes will clip back up and looking as good as a good solid get it back on the road bodge will ever be. It's time to drop this thing. I've got to get it down. I've undone the screw holding that on in there, which it says to do in the Haynes. Don't know why, but it does. I've soaked these in plus gas, these Jubilee clips, so I'm going to try and undo them now, and then it's just tank straps and down, apparently. Just undo the Jubilee clip and then remove the thing. Yeah, nice one. It's been parked in a field and a barn for 20 odd years. Next joke. How am I supposed to get these things off? That's absolutely, it's just rotten. I'm going to have to cut that off. What an absolute pain in the arse. Yes. Power tools. I mean, you know, what am I supposed to do with that? Come on. Come on. Next joke. Look at it. Pull the car off the ramp. I mean, it's loose, so I'll just drop the tank as it is and then worry about it later. I think so. Just gonna keep going forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards, getting everything in your eye. Clean it with plus gas each time. Oh, even though it's red hot, it's off and usable again. Fine, it's okay, not worried. Okay. Oh. Well, that thing that snapped, I don't think it was important. It was just some plastic. Just plastic that looked like that car. When was the last time you saw anything that looked like that was important? Anyway, and if it was important, they'd make it out of metal, wouldn't they? So we'll pretend we didn't see that. Fuel tank's out though. And we've got a big gaping hole where we can see all the pipes and stuff, which is excellent, isn't it? And yeah, it's the end of the fuel filler thing. We'll worry about that when we put it back in. Yeah, so I was trying to do everything through that hole, and it's going to be nice now to be able to rebuild it all on in the fuel tank and just send the whole thing up. That'll be amazing. What's lurking inside this chamber of secrets? Oh dear. That is pretty spectacular in there, isn't it? Look at the nick of it. I mean, this was never going to be serviceable. We needed to take this out and make this work, make the car reliable. There's just big chunks of rust and stuff everywhere, and also getting access through here, you know, is just, well, it's everything, isn't it, really? That's all looking nice though. So what I'm going to do is, which I've done a million times, is to get the pressure washer out and get the pressure washer out and just clean as much as I can through this hole on the old patio setting, get rid of all the flaky bits, make it as nice as I can, and that should be absolutely fine then. What you need on your pressure washer is a rough spinning round patio setting bit. Patio setting bit, you'd be amazed at how close it is to like a bit of, I mean look, it's taking the paint off. Going to make light work of everything that's inside there. which is what we need. It all coming out of there. Look at all that. Particles. You don't need to put this on a swing set with ropes and stones inside it and swing it all around. You just need a big access hole and a good pressure washer. So I've done a lot of the pressure washing. It looks a lot nicer inside there now, but I'm just leaving it to fill up like a little paddling pool for hydrocarbons. And what I'm hoping is going to happen is when it gets here, it's just going to start bellowing out of just like all the crap rising to the top, coming out. So we'll just flush it for a little while until it starts to run nice and clear, and then we'll leave it to dry for a bit, blow it out with an air gun as much as we can, and chuck it back in the car. Had the paper towels in with my arm. It's a little bit train spotting in places, but it was all right. Henry's been in there as well. He's had a good go. And yeah, I mean, I don't know how well you can sort of see, but that is now much, much, much cleaner. And once, you know, there's a gap between where the sort of fuel pump sucks up from on the floor. So if there's any little bits left, it's going to be fine. But that is a million times better. Dead impressed with that. Happy days. What I'm planning on doing now is I've put the return line into a bucket and I've put the pump into a brand new fresh can. Why isn't that working? Of juice. And I'm going to try and start the car and see what happens. Why no run? Okay. Well, that should be fresh fuel pumping round that. Got the feeling that the second-hand one is stuck as well. It didn't move as much as the other one. Okay. Yeah, see this range of movement that Nino and I managed to create there? That one didn't do that, and I thought I'd just put it in anyway without checking because I just imagined it would be fine, but it feels exactly like the other one did. The original one, we were out in the field, and obviously with a second-hand item like this, even though he said it's working fully, you sort of can't, I don't know. Did it work fully and then it's been sat in his shed for a year, 5 years, 10 years? Don't know. It is the next day, and what I've been researching last night and thinking about as I've been editing the video is the plunger inside there is definitely seized. I'm just hoping I can fix it without disassembling the whole thing, just taking it off the plate. which is what we did initially when we were out there in the field with that one, but because we've taken it apart, messed about with it, that one's dead. The wiring for the fuel pump doesn't work, and I need to know why. So I've got the fuse box out here, and I'm just doing a little bit of work to try and find out what's going on. That's my first job today, is to try and get power back to that switch. So if I build all the tank up and put everything back in, we're going to be able to get power on the key, which would be very, very important. There is a problem with building everything up and putting it all back together. There is a banjo bolt that fits over this thing here. So a big nut thing that goes over that, and that connects it to that thing there, which is the fuel pipe that goes into the car. When we were in the field, I lost that, right? So that fell down the tank and I lost it. I can't find it anywhere. It's not in the tank. It's just, it is lost. Finding another one of those is not easy. I don't know where it is. I don't, like, there's pictures of it in the Haynes manual and stuff, so I know what it is roughly that I'm looking for. I know how it all goes together, but again, I can't find that. So Joe's going to empty the boot out now, and we're going to have a proper good look over everything to see if we can find it, which would be awesome. And then hopefully we're in a position where this can all go back together, go into the tank, and then the wiring will work. I can fix that plunger, and the car's going to run. That's how positively confident I am about it. And it's going to be the case. We're going to do it. We can fix anything. We're going to do this. The other fairly problematic issue is the original fuel pumps for these cars. They don't exist anymore. I can't get one. This is the original fuel pump, and the bottom of it was completely covered in just a gauze, and the bottom of it just sucked everything up, whereas on the new one has just this little pipe in the bottom. So I'm going to have to look at putting a cover, some gauze, a cover, some sort of filter over that so it doesn't suck anything up. But we've cleaned a lot of the tank, but there'll still be little bits. I don't want to destroy this pump. So there's a few things I've got to get my head around, I've got to sort of work on. So I'm just going to sort of do bits and bobs like that this morning. Fuel pipes, missing banjo bolt. Is this one here? That's what I'm looking for. It's a hollowed out bolt with these little holes in it for the fuel to go in. That's not it though, but thankfully with Audi they do use a lot of the same stuff across the car. This one is from this bit of the K-JETRONIC at the front. Now I haven't got any spares of those, but at least I know that I've tried this one over there and that fits. So I could use this to rebuild the fuel system and then worry about finding one for this. I would really like to see if I can get it running though without having to wait for one of these bolts. Idea station. That there looks to me like a banjo bolt that is going to be the same size as this one, and that does the power steering pump. So what I could do is, I don't know, use that and try and disconnect the power steering or something along those lines. I could potentially borrow that bolt, chuck it in the K-JETRONIC, and then I could at least see if it runs, and we haven't got, I don't know. But there's options where we don't have to wait 3 days for someone to send me one of those off of the internet. Which means I can get a video out to you, hopefully, of these 5 cylinders going, which is the noise 5-cylinder cars make. I still, for the life of me, can't find out what's wrong with the electrics. Nothing, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong. So I'm going to have to go on a bit of a hunt for earths and stuff. So I'm going to have to check all my earths everywhere. You know, are we on? Is everything okay? Does that look good? You know, just all that sort of stuff, which is very time consuming and very annoying. But I think that might be where the issue lies. I've been looking for a bit of gauze to cover this with, but I don't know if you can see, and you're not going to be able to see this, but inside of there, I can get a bit of light. You can see that there is already a bit of gauze over it. So, I mean, I could just put it in like that and hope for the best, which I think is what I'm going to do, because I haven't got any other gauze, and it's the wrong fuel pump, it's not the right fuel, it's not the right design. Let's just throw it in, see what happens. It's time consuming, it's okay. It's not just to get, you know, when you see these other people, they're just bolting bits on, aren't they? Just bolt bits, you've got to make things work all the time. Okay, maybe put power to there. See if I can make that spin round. Do they really expect you to do all this through that tiny little bit of access in the boot? It's crazy, man. That's the sealing ring for the top, so we don't need that right now. The seal is back on that I took off yesterday. The fuel pump sits in this cradle, and again, it's not quite the right size, I don't think. Screwdriver. So that's supposed to hold it in place. Okay, so that grabs hold of the fuel pump like so, in the right place, hopefully. Goodbye, good luck for the future. That goes in. Torch, anybody? Has this one got battery in it? Yep. That sits on those plungers. Imagine doing this on a rainy Tuesday in Stoke. Wouldn't be able to, would you? Fairly confident in that. And then this, I mean, which I'm going to be honest, I don't think works. I did have a look online for another one, can't find one. So this is going to be up to the next owner to try and get a new fuel sender for it. But that bit's relatively straightforward. I did see some fuel senders, but the connection was different on them. You'd probably make it work by changing the plug, but I'm not going to. So that goes like that. There's another pipe that's in the tank somewhere. Right, that goes onto there then. So there's another pipe in here, which no doubt has led to most of that detritus. But that, I think, goes on there. Makes total sense, because that is the return pipe. Okay, so I just want to check that we've got flow through that pipe, because it's pretty crap. So I'm just going to empty a load of brake cleaner into it. Make sure that it's flowing out the bottom with ease. Which it is, so that's good. So then that can go back in, and which way did it go around? I think it was like that. I can always move it around when it's in the car to make sure these pipes work, but I can leave that like that-ish. That sort of just locks it in place like so. So I can leave that like that while we bring it up to the car, and then plug everything in from the top of the car, make sure those pipes go. So I think potentially that's the next job, get the tank back in the car. Just before we put it back on the car, I just want to make sure that that fuel pump does work. As you can hear, it does, so that's good. So there's these pipes that have sort of got to attach onto this thing here, which I could do like here with a couple of them, just to make sure that they go into the right place. Just sort of loosely slotted on. Could we get rid of that entirely? Mud in my eyes all the time. Do I put that, how do I do it? I don't think it's going to go over that without causing me problems. It'd be better if I could pull that out, but I just don't think I can. I've been trying. I can't get it out. So much mud in this car. Where's it been? I need to be able to move around freely. To wiggle this puppy home. I'm going to have to do what I can to take that fuel filler pipe out, because I can't get it on and move it in at the same time. Doesn't want to play ball. Oh God, thank God. Right, okay. But that should make it 5% easier. Fuel tank installation device. Switch your eyes. That was so easy, honestly. Right, do the strap up, sort the connections out on top, fill it with fuel. Got to drop the fuel tank again because the main fuel feed pipe's stuck. I can't move it. What happened to just throwing a bit of petrol down a carburettor? Remember when we used to do that? That was fun. To do that again sometime. Oh, there it is. Goes in a lot easier the second time, doesn't it? Thanks, Joe. Right, let's do this other strap up. A lot of people have been telling me to watch that Yellowstone recently, but it's not the time to talk about that. I'm trying to put a fuel tank in. Like, it's better times to bring stuff like that up. Let's get this done. Realise these pipes are a little bit long there, but we'll adjust those as and when time and space permits. Filling this tank with fuel now and hoping that it all settles, everything's fine, everything works nicely. Whoa, chef, why is it all splashing everywhere? And we could even, if we nick that bolt off the, what is the other thing that we're doing? Oh, nick the bolt off the power steering pump, then we can hopefully, well, we can maybe give it a little try if I hotwire the fuel pump from here, because again, I've not fixed the wiring for that. Wiring schmiring anyway, you know. No leaks or anything so far underneath. Good news. I'm now going to remove this bolt from here, and I'm going to use this with a couple of new copper washers to connect to the thing in the boot. The wiring for the fuel pump, I'm going to use that hot wire that me and Nino did, because I think it's potentially something to do with that key switch thing here. So we're going to like sort that, but at the moment it's difficult for me to get to because there's like a ramp and stuff in the way of opening the door. So we'll worry about that later. We can hotwire it for the moment, because I'm going to have to take half the dashboard apart to try and sort that. Anyway, that all looks good up there. I just need to tighten all the Jubilee clips and all that type of good stuff, install that, and we're getting very close to trying to fire it up again. This thing is becoming a bit of a headache, to be honest. So this fuel pipe inlet here into the fuel filter is loose, right? The fuel pump's now switched on. It should be flying out of there, spraying everywhere, and currently the fuel pump is on. The tank's full of fuel. You can hear the fuel pump. But it is not pumping fuel. The lines aren't blocked. I'm 99.9% sure that it's none of the lines. There's not a blocked line anywhere. The only thing I can think it would be is, you know, this bit here is connected to the nut that I just showed you on near the fuel filter. Now, that isn't blocked, we know that. It's got the same sort of hollow bolt as it should have. That isn't blocked. It goes down to this piece here on the fuel gauge sender. That isn't blocked. It goes down that pipe there onto this bit. Now, there is a couple of items here, as you can see. One is a check valve and one is a noise dampener. The noise dampener, it just flows up into, comes round and then goes back down and into this thing here. The check valve down here, I think, is maybe a one-way valve or something like that, and I've got the feeling that is blocked. And unfortunately that's all the way in the tank, which I can get to now from the boot again, but my back is in pleats, so I could really do without doing that, but I'm going to have to because there's obviously something wrong. I'm going to have to pull that out, and where am I going to get a check valve from? One came supplied with the pump, but it's the wrong thread for the pipes that I need. So that's one there, but it's the wrong size. So I used the one off the old pump, which I think again is blocked or seized or something. Oh God, because it's just all the wrong threads for everything. So I've got to take all that apart again now, all the pipes and everything. It's a hell of a thing. I might, to be honest, save this for the morning, because I've been at this, it's now getting on for 4 o'clock. I've been at this for a while. I've been doing other stuff on other cars as well, but it's 4 o'clock, the sun's creeping in and my back is going to explode. So I think the best idea, I've done all the I've done all the hard bits and I've got my head around everything. I know what's going on. We're small little jobs away, but they're faffy jobs, time consuming faffy jobs, and jobs that, because the parts aren't the correct parts, it just means that we're having to make things work all the time. And this is why you don't see cars like this on the Resurrection channels. You know, when you're watching Vice Grip and all these other people, you don't see cars like this from this era because they're just such a massive pain to work on. And no, you can't get bits for them at all. But I've got no choice. I like doing cars like this. This is cars from my era. These are cars that I enjoy seeing, driving, using, being around. So I will continue to do them, and this is the pain that I have to deal with. Anyway, I am going to wait until tomorrow, so I'll see you in the morning. In the sort of classic hemorrhaging cash style, I got this fuel pump delivered, which is one for the car. It's very expensive, it's like 100 quid, but it does have one of these check valves in it. So if that's what's blocked, I might be able to use this or use this pump or something. It's a lot of money considering the other fuel pump was 30 quid that's in there now, and that one was 100, and I might only use a bit out of it, but I just need to get this going today because it's Friday and I want to get this video out to you this weekend of this 5-cylinder singing, hopefully. Oh, this is my home now. This is where I live. What do I need to do then? So I've got to take, so first thing, I want to take the fuel, I want to take the fuel pipe off the inlet fuel pipe, not the one into the tank, but into the car, off, and I want to fire the fuel pump again and see if anything comes out of here, and if it does, then we've got a block in the pipe or something somewhere. So I'm going to undo that now. Could you flick the switch for me on the fuel pump? My glamorous assistant is just going to flick the switch on for the fuel pump, and we'll see if anything flies out of there. So just watch your eyes. Just get ready to switch it off dead quick as well. Off. That's actually that's fuel flying out of that. I wonder if we've got a block along the way then. Have I got a blockage somewhere? I mean, it'd be great if there was a blockage somewhere else, wouldn't it? Annoying with that thing there as well. I can't fire an airline down it because it's a stupid banjo bolt thing. Okay. Joe, flick that on again for us. Yeah. Can hear it doing stuff. It should be flying out of there though, and it's not. No pressure out of here at all. How very strange. On. Off. It was coming out there, but it was a bit of a dribble, wasn't it? Look, have we got something to put that in? Yeah, nothing. It should be filling that up very, very quickly, and there's nothing happening there. Is it something to do with this fuel accumulator? The pipes are all free. Nothing's pinched. Nothing's stuck. But yeah, we're just not getting anything through. Has this fuel accumulator died? I've pulled this out now, and yeah, bit of a weird one. It's not blocked down in the inlet side, that's all clear, but I think it's something to do with all this here. This is a noise dampener, and then this is that little valve, check valve. So I'm tempted now to just completely change all of this with that other fuel pump that I've got, the 100 quidder. And what I would really like you to do is go on the website and buy some merch or something, but I'll show you around all the stuff that we've got, all the cool bits, Tasty Classic stuff that you guys can buy to help me afford fuel pumps. Because this whole episode with this Audi has been quite financially catastrophic so far. Weird that, isn't it? Big silver German saloons costing more money than I'm ever going to get back for them. Ha! Fine. It was supposed to be 1 day's filming this car, maybe 2 days filming, and this is day 5, 6. Right, this is where we're constantly falling down with just parts that just don't match. It's doing my head in. This is the new check valve that I got with this fuel pump. Great, fits into the new fuel pump, lovely. However, once that's all screwed down, you put your banjo thing over there that takes the fuel up to the top, and this noise dampener is supposed to fit on the top there, and the thread inside the noise dampener is nowhere near that. That is the thread that I need coming out of the check valve, which screws onto that perfectly. And I've got no way of holding that down and sealing it and doing the whole noise dampening thing without that, basically. Without using this one, and this one I think is knackered. I think that's what's causing the problems. So annoying. This fuel pump, as you can see, that thread there that goes into the fuel pump is nothing like this check valves. So it's just nothing's going to work. I haven't got the right stuff. Can't get the right stuff. The right stuff is going to be in someone's shed in Germany somewhere, or just online on eBay, and it's just not easily accessible when I need to get this video done today. So how can I do this? The only other thing I can think, just to get this thing running while I try and find other bits, is to run the fuel pipes directly over that end out of a can, which I don't want to do. I want to get this fuel system properly back to full health, full chat. I wonder if there's a way I could clean this or test this. Don't know. I've just spent ages blowing this thing through and trying to put brake cleaner through it and blow it through and blah blah blah, and it seems to be working. So what I'm going to do is lower this back in with the connections on just as it is, like this, and I'm going to see if it spurts out of there at a crazy PSI. If it does spurt out of there at crazy PSI, then we'll move on to connecting it up and putting that in just as it is, lowering it down, and see if it still squirts out like a crazy PSI. And if it doesn't, then the problem is possibly in here as well. But this it kind of just goes in there, dances round, and comes out through these little holes. And again, nothing looks like terribly blocked. And blowing it through, and hopefully it's going to be okay. But I'm going to do that and see if we can't bring this back to life, because I can't get that one in the new fuel pump either, so that new fuel pump is completely redundant. So I'm going to have to use this, and I'm hoping this is not a problem with this fuel pump, which is why we're going to check this first. And what I could even do is take that off, and the first thing to check is if it spurts out of there at a rate of knots, and just try and sort of go piece by piece and work out what the problem is. I've just had a slightly different idea as well, which means I have to find another banjo bolt, but it means what I could potentially do is get rid of that entire sort of thing, the other stuff, all this, you know, noise reduction thing and stuff. You just bin all that, you don't need it. But annoyingly, yes, fucking torch, stand up. Yeah, don't need it, could get rid of it, use the whole thing without it. But it just means finding another banjo bolt. Drop that back in again. Into a pool of liquid gold. Okay, put my finger over the end of it. Okay, Joe, hit the button. Off. Right, that's working, that's powerful. Just drop the washer in the tank, that's fine. I've got plenty more of those, that can live there now. Okay, so let's tighten that up. Now, people, like a lot of people in the comments especially, slag these old German cars off, and in many ways those people that are slagging them off are completely correct and completely within the rights. They say they're unreliable, shite, crap cars, and yeah, there is some truth in that. The problem is that they're just massively over-engineered. So when they're brand new, they work better than any other car. When they're brand new and everything's perfect. Even that, the reason that the fuel regulator thing at the front is seized is because there's no tolerance. the tolerance is so fine that it doesn't have any like O-rings or gaskets or seals. It just uses the actual tolerance of the metal and how well it's machined to stop fuel going past it, which is incredible. But it just means that it seizes so easily. So they haven't thought about, well, they probably have, but they just don't care because they don't want cars to last forever. All the components like this do not last sitting, and that's why people go, oh, they're unreliable, they're crap, all that sort of stuff. It's like, well, when they're sat for ages, yeah, there is an element of truth in that. Bringing them back to life is a lot harder than other vehicles, but when they work, they're amazing. Right, so I've put the noise dampener back on now. I've tested the other two bits. It flowed from the pump, flowed from the check valve. I want to see now if it flows from the noise dampener. And to do that, it's going to come flying out of there if Joe presses the button. So Joe, when you're ready, get ready to switch it off though. Yep. Go ahead. Yeah, off. Yes. Right, that's awesome news. See the pressure behind that? That's what you need, 1,000 million PSI. So I think we've cleaned up whatever was blocked. Oh, that's brilliant news. Right, I need to put all that back together again, and then we should see it coming out the front. Incredible news. We now have fuel pressure to the front of the car, which is exactly what the doctor ordered. However, if you have been paying attention, which if you haven't, I don't blame you, but if you have, you remember we needed another banjo bolt. So what I've done is I've taken the belt off of the power steering pump so it doesn't pump any fluid round, and I'm going to borrow this banjo bolt off of the power steering pump. So hopefully that won't spin round, won't leak anything. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and fire it up again as it is, just to see if we've got any fuel leaks or anything. And then we're going to have to take this thing off, and we're going to have to try and free that plunger up. Ticking over on all five, nicely, smoothly. I could move it then, I could move the plunger. Very, very, very stiff, but I managed to move it. Oh, come on! Come on! Ah. Right, there's a fuel issue. The fuel pump's making a hell of a racket. Hell of a racket. Shouldn't be that noisy. Need to go and investigate. I'm hoping the fuel's just low. That'd be great, wouldn't it? So I sent Joe off to get some more fuel, and then we're going to try it again. I hope that's the case, because it sounds like the fuel pump's not, because we drained the tank entirely. There was nothing left, and I've only put a couple of cans in it, so I'm hoping that's the case. But while I'm waiting for Joe to get back, I want to change out of this old top and put on a new t-shirt. So let me just let me just look in my lovely wardrobe here. I've been messing about with the Rascal. Look at how good all of this is. I did all this. Look at that. That's a proper clothes rail. Because we've got the show coming up in July, haven't we? To show all the cars and stuff. The Tasty Classics, 100,000 subscribers, cars and coffee, which I think is all sold out now. So if you haven't got a ticket, then you should have got a ticket earlier. But yeah, so we're just sort of making this, because this is going to be centre stage and you're going to have all the merch hanging up. We've got loads of it, got loads more in there, so people can just come and pick up a nice hoodie and stuff, which would be very, very cool. We've also got loads of air fresheners, of key rings, sticker packs, stickers, loads of amazing gear. Proper nice window cling stickers and stuff. Loads of bits that you could buy if you want. If you want to help the channel, if you want to sort of help me afford all these mad expensive parts and stuff for these crazy old cars that no one does. And I'm hoping we're going to get this thing running nicely in a moment. And just think, you know, you watch other YouTube videos of people pulling Audis out from fields recently and they don't get them running. And I am doing everything in my power, days of work, you know, MacGyvering stuff to try and get this one running, because I know that's what you want to see. And above all, anything else is what I want to see. I don't just go and find these cars and sort of, you know, just be like, oh, this is fun, isn't it? Look at this is great. I want to bring them back to life. This car is so mint. Condition-wise, I mean, it's like brand new. It's proper clean. I saw one other of these on eBay and it was up for 8 grand on eBay. I don't know if they'd get that, but it's the only other one I saw of this C3 sort of Audi 100, and it was 8 grand, 7,995. I just think it's a car worth saving, and we're going to make a nice car out of it. Really are going to make a proper good car out of it. It will work, it will drive, everything will be great, and it'll be a lovely little German Autobahn Stormer, you know, big 5-cylinder good noise thing. So if you want to help the channel and help me do stuff like this, buy a bit of merch. Go on this website, it'll be up here somewhere, or there's a link in the description. And if you could buy a little bit of merch, that'd be great. And at the moment, we're running a competition, and the competition will probably be finished end of next week. So you've got, you know, get that week in. And the competition is, you can win this hoodie, which is the only catastrophic sense of humour failure hoodie. Do you remember that video? That was really cool. On black. Because usually all of these are on this red colour here. So that's the only black one that will ever be made, and you can win that. And all you have to do is buy something as small as a sticker or something as big as a hoodie or whatever. Just make a purchase on the website and you can get stuck into that. We also have a Patreon as well. Now the Patreon is awesome, and again, it really helps. I can just dip into there and you guys have, you know, chucked a few quid in and I can go, right, I can afford to go and spend 300 quid on a fuel plunger thing, whatever it's called, K-JETRONIC, without sort of worrying too much, without becoming bankrupt. So I can keep these things moving and keep these videos coming. So massive thank you to all the Patreonaires. And I usually, in the first video, I would have put all the names all over the side of the cars, but I couldn't do it because I was out in the field, quite literally doing it. So we'll catch up on the next car. But for the moment, while Joe's going to get some fuel and stuff, nip onto the website, get some merch. And as well, if you can't afford to pay any money to help me to make this channel happen, because you know, you don't make a lot of money out of YouTube and stuff itself, but if you make an okay bit, you know, out of YouTube, don't get me wrong, but not enough to keep this place running at all. So, but what I'm saying is, if you can't help financially, you can watch it for free. I do all of this for free. All you have to do is sit through a few adverts and listen to me talking about stuff like this. That's all you have to do. You can watch it for completely free, which is great. And listen, I love you as well, just as much as everybody else that helps the channel, the Patreoners, all that sort of stuff. If you could, though, another completely free thing you could do is just hit the subscribe button. That'd be amazing, or like button, or give us a comment, tell us what you think of this amazing Audi. And what other cars you would like to see. I've got another one lined up that I should have been doing this week, but I'm going to do next week now instead, because I'm hoping we're going to get this one finished soon. Come on, you old beast. It's the first time I've smiled this video, I think. Plunger's still not completely unstuck, but I can move it up a little bit more. Joe's bringing me my prize. My new t-shirt. We've changed as well. We've gone back to printed rather than embroidered, because the embroidered logos, they shrink when you put them in the tumble dryer. Shouldn't tumble dry them. So we've gone back to these so you can tumble dry them. I'm going to put this on. That is better. It's still large. Might have to go to a medium soon. Doing well. Why is it doing this again? Right, I need to do something with that plunger. Oh, so nice to hear it run off its own juices and even rev up a little bit. Okay, we're getting there. I think the plunger's stuck, so it's just like pouring fuel in or something. Right, I have no other option. I have to take this off because that's stuck now. Oh, right. How did we do it last time? It's just those screws, isn't it? Fuel was just flowing out of that then. And this, the plunger inside here is not returning. That is our sticky plunger all over again. We're back in sticky plunger ground zero. Anything gonna fall out of there? No, we're okay. Right, what can I use? So basically this big flap that's going up and down here, that is on a little roller and pushes this thing up and down, if you didn't get that from the last video. But it's stuck. It's seized, so it's not metering the fuel properly, so it's not going to run properly. And the massive hassle that we had last time was that we couldn't get that thing out on the field. But I have been able to move that with my hand, so I'm hoping it's going to be a bit easier to move in and out and up and down and stuff. But it's so well machined and slippy that getting pliers on it isn't that straightforward. I don't want to split this thing. I don't want to take this thing apart at all, because that's what we did with the other one and we couldn't get it back together properly because I haven't got a rebuild kit, and it's also very, very tricky to do. I'll keep doing it and I'll come back to you. I've taken it off the car. What I'm trying to do now with this soldering iron is introduce heat without flame and just try and get this thing hot so there becomes some sort of size difference between that and the cylinder that it's in. And I'm hoping that's going to sort of help free it up. So I'm going to keep this on it for a little while and then try and pull it back out. So seized inside there. It's a big common problem this with these. It's all over the internet. These sealed plungers, seized plungers, sorry. I really don't want to take this thing apart because it was 300 quid ish, about 260 or something. And I wanted it because the internals work and this is supposed to have worked, so vintage online second-hand car parts, isn't it? Ran when parked, doesn't know. But hopefully we'll see. I'm just going to keep this on it, try and heat that thing up as much as I can and keep trying it over and over again. Hello, it's me, VoiceOver Ben. At that point, I sort of had a little bit of an epiphany. I thought to myself, why don't I take the old unit that we tried to rebuild in the field and we couldn't rebuild it in the field, and why don't I try and rebuild it in the workshop where I've got some more O-rings, I've got some other bits, I've got brake cleaner, I've got rags, there's no grass, we're not being stung by horseflies, all that type of good stuff. So I decided to rip the whole thing to pieces and very, very carefully put it all back together. This took quite a long time to do all that, and there was a few sort of failed attempts and stuff as I was doing it, because it's so unbelievably fiddly to get the little rubber O-rings to stay on the middle bit. But I used the gasket to sort of hold it in place in the end, and it kind of worked, and it all went back together. And then I sort of was just like, right, we're going to have to chuck it back on the car and see if it works. And this is the original unit off the car, not the new one. The new one's sat next to it there on the left. This is the original unit that I have rebuilt, and the Plunger sort of feels, I don't know, more like a Plunger than the other one. Stuff's happening. This is all bolted down. All the O-rings and everything that we did in the field, just all split to bits and snapped, and just, it was all messed up because we did it in the field. But when I was able to take my time and use some more stuff that was sort of lying around me, I managed to use the gasket to hold the things in place while it all went together, I hope. So you never know, it might work. But reading online and stuff, everybody's like, you never really get them to reseal, and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we're going to try it. This is the original unit. I've tried absolutely everything under the sun. The Plunger's stuck. So if this works now, I'll try and get my money back for that, because it was a lot of money. And obviously he's just sent me something that doesn't work. So only thing we can do now is flick the fuel pump on, see if she'll start. Come on, come on. It's not running amazingly, it's a bit lumpy, but bloody hell it ran and it revved up and it sounded good. There's a little bit of weepage here, haven't managed to get that to seal perfectly. Not 100% sure where it's coming from. Where's the torch? Are these 5 cylinders or 2 cylinders? I can't remember. Nothing beats the sound of a 5-cylinder. Listen to that! I know I was revving its knackers off from cold, but frankly I couldn't give less of a shit. These engines can take it, and it's its own fault. I want to hear it run. It's very late in the day. I wanted to hear that 5-cylinder sing. Come on! Right, it's lumpy as hell, but we're working. She's not all there, but she's there. So my plan is now, I want to get the thing back on the ground and out into the open, because I want to show you some other stuff that we've been doing on the car. I wouldn't mind putting some bits back together on it, like the cam covers and a couple of other bits. I need to wait for some parts. There is going to be a part 3 to this car, where I get it completely sorted, and you know, we'll have a little drive. The clutch is all seized up and stuff as well, so we need to sort that. But she's now running. And she's running fairly nicely. I think there's just a few things I need to do. I might need to swap the plugs, just do a few little jobs like that really. But also, I'm going to take this now and I'm going to get some nice clean petrol and I'm going to put it in a tub like that, full of clean petrol, and I'm going to hope to God that when I come in on Monday, that this plunger is down and it's freed up. That would be the dream. And then I can use this one, and this is all sealed then. So it'll work nicely on that, because that one is leaking and I think there's a pressure issue, which is why it's not running a bit, well, why it's running a bit lumpy. Oh, buzzing with that though. All the fuel system, no leaks, nothing, everything seems to be okay. Oh, thank God for that. Can't believe I managed to get that going as well. Pretty cool. So the temperature gauge moving up then as well, it's working, just coming off the bottom, which is really nice. I need to get tidied up. This has been a mad few days trying to get this thing going. I need to have a big clear up, get this thing outside, and yeah, we'll have a look at it properly. There you go. That's in 45 Aussies, 45 Australias of petrol, and I'm hoping that when I come in next, that plunger is going to be out, because it is spring loaded. So yeah, I'm hoping it does move. That would be amazing. And then I can fit it to the car. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'll just have a look for another one that is properly working, or maybe see if I can send one off and get it rebuilt, that sort of thing. properly with all nice new gaskets and bits. I could order a gasket set and try it myself maybe. I don't know. We will have a look, but that's going to come up in the next episode because there's still a lot more to do on this car. Nice to just sort of reduce the parts pile a little bit and get some of these trims and stuff that we took off when we were in the field back on before we forget how they go back on or they get inevitably lost. Apologies for sound quality in this episode as well, but I've not had my lapel mics on. Partly because I'm crawling out the boot and stuff and underneath and things and like lying across stuff, and it keeps knocking on things, and then I have to get rid of those knocks in the edit, and sometimes it's right in the middle of something hilarious that I say and I have to delete it. Nobody wants that, do they? Oh nice, look at that, it's like a real car again. Oh god, yeah, some Allen key thing, isn't it? They're like, hey Heimlich, let's make these Allen bolts. That'll really teach them a thing or two, won't it? What car was it recently we were doing? It was literally just crossheads. I think it was a Proton, wasn't it? Proton saturator. It was 13 mils, 10 mils, and crossheads. That's it. None of this. Throwing things on the floor. I don't know what's going on with parts at the moment. I honestly don't. But this is the air filter that was supposed to be for this car. It's nothing like that. The air filters are square. God's sake! She's almost ready to roll on out of here. Just worth mentioning as well, while we've been doing the Audi, Joe has been hard at work giving this a good old clean and refresh, and he's checking tyre pressures and stuff now. We're doing levels and things, and we're just making sure that it is going to be perfect and ready for Sunday, where the winner of the ZX from the raffle comes to pick it up, which I'll put a little reel out on social media when he comes to get it. But yeah, another one finding a new home, which is nice, which will probably be the same with this one as well, but that's probably going to be in episode 3 once we actually get it properly on the road and reliable enough so someone can drive it home. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you. It's a nice car, that. I enjoyed having that around. Very clean looking thing. Back to spec. Can hear it all whining and then starts to seep out. It's just completely out the side, out of the middle bit of that. Ooh, and out of like a screw hole there. It's weird, isn't it? Maybe do those tighter. Interesting. Does it run though? I mean, she's on the key. Can we ask for much more than that after all the headaches that we've been through? She's on the key and she sounds alright. She's not on 5. I mean, maybe. No, not on 5. I think maybe 4.5. God, she actually sounds really well. She sounds pretty good. Still got no clutch, sadly. God, I can't even pull it up. It's properly seized, solid. No, it's going to want a slave cylinder. This is something that fell off when we were moving the car around. I'm not sure how these go back on. Do they just clip in? One doesn't work. So if you notice now, this interior, it's all been cleaned up. How did this happen? That's what we need to get into next. I've got to take all these panels out and do all sorts of stuff with that, but that's what we need to get into next to find out why the fuel pump isn't working on the car's electronics. But yeah, isn't it nice in here now? Look how clean everything is. This been put back on and stuff. Do you remember how it was in the first episode? Joe was hard at work giving the car a good once over while I was away at a stag do this weekend, jumping into rivers, as you can see here. What? But he did a really good job. He did a nice bit of graft just to make the car a little bit nicer for me to work on, essentially. Because working on it as it was not the best. It still needs a proper good go over, but it's definitely much more, well, do you remember all the hair, the cat hair that was in it? It was rough, man. It was totally rough. But this is much nicer in here now, and I could see it, you know, being a good car for someone. It's super clean everywhere. The interior is pretty immaculate. I mean, look at that. No rips, tears, nothing. Everything's very clean and nice. And I think handbrake might be seized as well. Got a few jobs to do, but at least she's running now off her own juices. The tank's all sorted. Few jobs like that are done, which is awesome, and that's what I needed. That's what I wanted, just to get this episode of making this car run again, because that's what we're all about, bringing cars back to life. The driving bit will be in episode 3, whenever that is, and then I'm going to do cars with carburetors for the foreseeable. She needs a good buff and a good polish, but I think she's going to come up so smartly, so nicely. All the bodywork is very straight on it. Hubcaps could do with a little bit of a spray. What a massive old barge though. I do like big, long German saloons. Very good, aren't they? Good cars. This is definitely one of those. Speaking of big, long German saloons, can you see over there? That's in the daily driver spot. BMW 5 coming soon. I could definitely have driven this home like this had the clutch and brakes worked. I think it's missing a bit because it's not metering the fuel properly. It's putting too much in, so it's misfiring. Because when it gets up the rev range, it does sound nice.
You can rely on NFU Mutual Car Insurance, as we include RAC UK breakdown cover as standard. If you're more than a quarter of a...
Whoa! Look at that! I think it's got headphone sockets. You see in the back there? Look at that, it's got little headphone sockets. Oh, I wish the clutch worked. Just drive it off into the sunset, come on, please. I was planning on doing the clutch in this episode, but just not had the opportunity because we've run out of time. No. Anyway. What a car. Fantastic. Look, thank you very much for watching this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is what we do. We get cars running again. I'm so pleased with that. It's now on its own juices. And I'm sure the wiring situation is just that key thing, which should be very easy to sort. The fuel system, I'm going to have a bit more of a play with that, and then hopefully that one's going to free up and we can just bolt it on, and then that'll be that fixed. And then I've got to do clutch, I've got to do brakes, or brake pipes as well it needs. Tidy a few little trim bits up here and there. Maybe a set of tyres, but the tyres looked weirdly alright for the amount of time it's been sat. Yeah, a few little jobs, a few little finishing jobs. Everything work. Hey, check this out. So good. Can't believe they work. Do you remember when we used to say this on the channel? She's got fire in her eyes again. We bought it back. We bought the fire back. She's running off her own juices. She's charging her own battery. There's nothing else we can possibly do, apart from maybe make a run and drive, which we'll do in the next one. And if you want to see that next one, give me a subscribe, like, comment, tell me what you think of the big Audi, and I'll see you then. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon. Bye. What a beast.